Hey everyone, welcome to the Q1 2025 community call. I'm your host for today, Angie. Good to see you all here. We're just gonna, as usual, go through org updates and then save some time for a general Q&A if we have it, if we need it. So as you all probably know, or can expect, the quarterly org updates go on to the community.radworks.org discourse. You can find all these written updates there. Now we'll head into those org updates. So without further ado, Clinton, you are at the top of my screen. And as I understand it, you're given the Radicle update.
All right, I'll switch over to the Radworks post. Q1, yeah, bit of a huge announcement. So some of you may know, some of you may not know. Cloudhead is planning to step away from the development of the Radicle protocol, transitioning, aiming for 30th of June, and the product area, the organization itself will transition from the orthogonal systems onto or under Foundation Org, or the Better Internet Foundation. And myself, Lawrence, who's on the call, Eric, who can't make this call, are kind of taking the reins and driving things forward, starting from a couple of weeks ago. We're kind of like doing the transition. So there's some people may have noticed, if they're keeping track of development on Heartwood, that there was a bit of a hiatus. Not that there was a complete hiatus on work, but there was a hiatus on things being merged. But checking back in now, since our version 1.1 release, we have 57 commits, some of which are from outside contributors, which I'll call out later. So we're picking back up. The chart is going upwards again. We plan to prepare a 1.2 release at the start of May. Essentially, we're gathering kind of like big pieces of work, big improvements, such as canonical references, which I think has been mentioned on calls before, but also like 100x improvement in supporting large repositories. So before, we wouldn't be able to initialize repositories that were a gigabyte or larger. And this was actually found to be one of our underlying dependencies that get to. Fun fact, Linus Torvalds gave out about it about 10 years ago. And I happened to come across that GitHub issue, and that set me on the path of unblocking Radicle for supporting bigger repositories. And then final general note is that we are within budget. Sally has informed me, which is great. I don't really remember what kind of objectives we set before in the initial proposal, but I do remember us caring about kind of like user metrics or like contributions. So since v1.1, we've had 80 new users in Zulip, and there has been a lot of like, there continues to be a lot of outside contributions and conversations and whatnot in Zulip itself. And then checking through those 57 commits, I found that like there's 6 non-core members actually contributing useful code, and some of them are continuing to do so. Some patches are in review. Yeah. And as part of the kind of reorganization of Cloudhead stepping away and the three of us kind of like stepping forward to take the reins, we ran a little exercise between ourselves and also later ran it through the Radworks team to decide on what are kind of like the big topics that we should be breaking down and working on to improve the protocol and improve the lives of the Radworks team. Probably no surprise, but identity management won by a landslide. So expect a lot more talk about that, more rips, more like decision making around what way we should move forward on identity management and hopefully find a way to do multiple device. And then the other big ticket item or big bucket is like node management. So allowing the protocol to, or like improving the protocol so that it makes it easier to manage a Radicle node, such as like, so stuff like this quota, network quotas, these kind of things that feel more like it should be baked into the Radicle node itself rather than taping on top of what is already existing. And we hope that like this helps the Radworks kind of like infrastructure team to provide a better offering and like help them manage nodes. In the upcoming announcements, I know at least myself, but possibly some others have bought tickets to Local First Conf. So yeah, always love to connect with people working on Local First software, including Radicle. And the last year was really like productive. There's lots of nice conversations, connecting with other people that are working in the Local First domain. And then the other update is, as I said, look out for V1.2. I think we're aiming for around the 6th of May. And then from there, we hope to have like a more regular cadence on releasing versions of Radicle every 4 weeks.
All right, then moving on, maybe Johannes, can I call on you to present for Radworks product?
What we started and what we did the last quarter was essentially everything that we've done with the team because the team is new. So we started our work on the 1st of January, basically by moving resources around, reorganizing ourselves. And I want to start by looking at our purpose and objective and compare how we delivered on that, right? Like the team's mission is to popularize the sovereign developer stack and prove new business models around it. That's essentially the high-level goal for the entire year. So we obviously didn't like finish this or anything, but we can clearly look into the objectives that we set ourselves for the early part of the year. With that, I'm going to switch to the org update here and go through that. So yes, we looked at the plan. Since we started, we've made significant progress towards two of the main blockers that we had before we wanted to go out and spread the message. Basically, the things we identified as like every code forge kind of needs to solve, which is code reviews that are central to collaborating on code, and CI, which is really table stakes nowadays for anything code hosting. So that is completed to a degree that we felt comfortable sharing it with a smaller audience and start gathering feedback on that. And I'll share a bit more demo-like content later. But yeah, let's look at the actual objectives that we had. Released a new desktop client and managed offering for code hosting. We have the desktop client was actually aimed for Q2 release. We kind of did an early friends and family release end of Q1 already that we can see here. So without any public announcements, we've just set up a landing page that gives you the main value proposition, the way to download, and gives you a teaser of what you can expect. I'm going to share this here. It's a quick video of 1 minute of the interactions, the type of work that you can do. It walks you through how you can review code, multiple people can work together, how you would use the CLI tooling in some places where you need to push your code. And yeah, in the end, it goes through the full flow of collaborating on code. We have a similar demo for CI as well. If you have some time and if you haven't checked out the page, check out the page, try it out. And if you see anything that you like or that you don't like, please come to Zulip and talk to us about it. We love to hear your feedback. And now back to the, so that was the release of the desktop client. That has actually happened a bit faster than we anticipated. There was like some reprioritization around that, as we saw it as the natural entry point for all of the users. So we prioritized some of this a bit higher than the managed offering. So those two just changed the time slot a tiny bit. Yes. Yeah, so there is some, we currently release desktop under the Radicle branding, while in parallel, we also work on an updated, refreshed, distinct brand identity for the product offering. This is mainly due to trying to make a clear distinction between protocol and product offering, as we try to keep them kind of separate to be able to be more opinionated with the product, while the protocol stays unopinionated, open source, and open to many other use cases than just like our product offering. So that will happen within 3 to 4 weeks, and sometime implementing it, and then we should be able to go live with the managed first version of the managed offering. The broader goal for the year was obviously also increased user adoption. And we haven't done much in the first 3 months of the year, but since then we started rethinking our messaging, and we started talking a bit more about it on social media. So Blue Sky and Mastodon are where a lot of the conversations are happening right now. We've seen a subjective increase in Zulip signups, potentially as a result from that. We are very active in supporting new users during chat there, which hopefully will translate to converting them to long-term users. Measuring the growth until now, from the start of the year until now, has been 25%. This is weekly active users. There has been a peak that was actually higher than now during February, but I think that is a good number to have in mind next time when we compare our efforts, and we keep this in mind as a baseline. We talked about the brand, and yeah, what is up and coming? We want to write more. We want to spend more time communicating publicly about what is already possible with Radicle and how our product offering can feed into that. We see that as one of the many ways how we can drive traffic towards our community. We're going to announce the managed paid offering because we think it's a great way for people to choose between self-hosting, having full control, and giving some of the control up, but offering more convenience. We iterate on the feedback that we're already getting from desktop, and as I said, we are going to implement the brand update within the next weeks, probably before June, so that we can do the public launch sometime in June. And yes, once we have all of that, we are going to we're going to publicly launch the product offering under that brand. And by product offering, I mean desktop and the managed offering all under the brand that is a bit more distinct from the Radicle brand. That was it for me. I have one small, tiny new thing that I think could be interesting as well. It's one of the many things that we are doing is trying to reduce friction in the onboarding. So I'm going to share this step instead. So what we did was oftentimes people want to play around with Radicle. They set up a seed node and then they're like, don't want to run a permissive seed node, but I would like to offer, I would like to find interesting projects that are already on the network. This is important for social proof and for continuing their journey. And currently there was a break in the onboarding experience there, I would say. So we've built like a simple search that helps you discover like some interesting projects on the Radicle network. So you could kind of go in there and find like projects, check them out there. Here you have the README, and here you can browse the code. One of the many small efforts that help us reduce friction. All right, that's it from me. Thank you.
So we'll move on to drips.
Nice. Awesome. So yeah, we provided an update on the blog, but also as a team, we actually started doing this now publicly on our social media outside of the forum. I mean, on our social media. So yeah, you can go to our blog and you can basically get a more detailed view of that. Also on Blue Sky and on X, we also do this on video format now. So if you haven't watched the video, it's actually quite nice. So go check that out. But yeah, with regards to us, Q1 was a really busy quarter. There's a lot going on within our world. But let me start by introducing Warren, who's on the call. We had a new team member joining. Me and Warren worked together at SoundCloud for many years. He's an exceptional data scientist, and he joined us to lead all of our data science, data engineering, and AI efforts. So yeah, very excited for that. And then moving to the product, we actually deployed our smart contracts on 2 more networks. The one is Optimism, the other one is Metis, as part of a bunch of different campaigns, funding efforts that we did. So that's the first major thing that happened. The second thing we did was to introduce universal search. So this is a major UX improvement. So you can go now find what you're looking for within drips a lot more easily. So that's the second thing. The third thing that we've done is basically we announced that anyone can now run the entire drip stack locally. And basically you even get a complete local testnet, which makes it much nicer to actually go and play around with our contracts. For anyone that has played with blockchains knows how problematic that whole thing is. So yeah, so that's live. And then additionally, some more things that we've done is we made a partnership with a nonprofit called Web3 Privacy Now that has a lot of momentum within the Ethereum community, and they create this campaign that anyone can fund. They created this list of high impact privacy specific projects, and then they invited people to fund. So that's ongoing, that's happening. And then the last thing I want to mention with regards especially to also our quarterly objectives, we started having revenue, which is a major moment for us. So we had our first large funder actually directing some capital via drips back to us for the partnership we did together. So yeah, that's mostly it. With regards to what's coming, there's a lot of things coming. I think the 2 main things that I want to call out is the one is there's this experiment new mechanism that Vitalik Buterin has come up with that's called deep funding. The distribution for that is happening via drips. The main idea behind that is that effectively I think all here you are familiar with our concept of dependency funding. What Vitalik is trying to do is trying to really supercharge that using AI. And the way it works is that effectively you have a number of different starting nodes, and then you have a jury that effectively is assessing the relative importance of the children of the dependencies to that parent node effectively. And then the jury does this for a number of different nodes, and then you have AIs effectively competing, trying to predict how the jury would have actually scored the relative importance between other projects based on the training data set that has been created by humans. So it's a pretty exciting experiment, and all of that capital will be basically distributed via drips. We're doing a bunch of things in order to support that, but what you see here is a new feature within the drips app that we call ecosystems that allows you to effectively fund with a one button the whole Ethereum ecosystem, or call it, you can really configure it however you like. And then additionally, you get a really nice visualization for that, and you can go explore that graph all within the drips app. So that's the one major thing that's happening. Another thing that I believe some of you have heard about is that we're starting to go beyond open source code into also open research, and we have been integrating ORCID. This is a standard effectively for funding papers and scientists. So you can expect that to be live within the drips app in Q2. There's a lot more things going on. We're looking to make drips a lot more accessible to more, L1, L2s, and maybe even beyond that. Who knows? And there's a lot of great engineering that the team is doing. But yeah, I'll stop here. I think that's the gist of it.
Thanks, Illy.
I realized that maybe budget, we are on track. We remain on track. We actually have spent, I think, 30% of our budget. So we're really, we're really on track. Yeah.
All right. Then we will close us out with the foundation. All right, so to take us back maybe to the Foundation Org's proposal for 2025, some of you might remember that the foundation is continuing to narrow its set of responsibilities and its role within the ecosystem, but it still is maintaining an important role as the entity that's really that identifies and responds ecosystem-wide needs and risks, especially when it comes to some of the legal work that might be triggered, depending on how products are being developed, and depending on what's happening outside of our project in governments worldwide. And it's also working on, as well, operationalizing some of the grant giving to community contributors, and in doing so also helping and supporting the adoption of drips. So maybe now to go back to our update for Q1 2025. For those of you who didn't see it, we actually published our 2024 annual report to Radworks. Every year, what we're trying to do is summarize what the foundation did in the year before, as well as account for all the finances of the organization and where money was spent over the course of the year. So you can feel free to check that out. On the horizon, as Fintan mentioned, we are going to be moving the day-to-day maintenance and development of Radicle under the stewardship of the foundation. And that's something that we're going to be working with Alexi and the Radicle Org on over the next few months. So stay tuned there. And we're also still working on this sort of new framework for what RAD incentives for contributors to Radworks might look like. So stay tuned there. It didn't end up being a priority for Q1. We have a lot of change on the horizon, as you've kind of seen amongst all the project presentations today, but it's still something that is on our radar and something we'll be looking at in Q2. In terms of just foundation health, generally, Q1, we had our quarterly Foundation Council meeting, and we also successfully completed our 2024 limited audit. Moving into Radworks ecosystem support. On the drip side of things, we were able to provide a grant to Surav Insights for their contributions to drips last year. We've also been conducting regular policy reviews with Ele from Drips, and we've actually started working with the Ethereum Foundation's DevCon team to fund their dependencies via Drips. There's more to come on that, but Natasha from the foundation side will be leading the outreach efforts there. On the Radworks product side, we have initial versions of the terms of service and privacy policy complete, more or less, and so that the Radworks product will be ready for their first set of customers when they come. And lastly, on the Radicle side, we've been able to post a simple legal resource for seed node operators up on the radicle.xyz website so that those network participants are better informed. Last note, is just a short note to say that we are currently under our predicted budget at the foundation, and a lot of the savings is due to audit fees, which we've been able to decrease as a result of going for a limited audit as opposed to a comprehensive audit for 2024, as well as contributor fees being lower than planned, and legal expenses as well. So that sort of wraps us up. We'll go ahead and close out this community call, short and sweet. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll look forward to seeing you in July.